The world won't change for you until your mind does. That's the truth nobody tells you when you're young. Nobody explains that wealth doesn't begin with money. It begins with thinking differently than the people around you. You can hand two people the exact same opportunity, the same starting point, the same set of tools, and one becomes wealthy while the other stays exactly where they've always been. Why? Mindset. Not luck, not talent, not timing, not inheritance. Mindset. This is Millionaire Mindset. Think like a millionaire. An audiobook designed to take you inside the psychology of wealth, inside the mental habits the rich repeat every day, inside the thinking patterns that separate those who rise from those who remain stuck. If this resonates with you already, hit like, save this audiobook, or share what line hits you hardest. You're not just listening to words, you're about to rebuild the operating system your life runs on. Chapter 1. The shift. The moment everything changes is never external. It is always internal. There comes a point in every person's life when they finally admit the truth. I cannot build a new life with my old mindset. That moment is uncomfortable. It shakes your identity. It confronts your excuses. It forces you to look at the life you've created, not the life you wanted. Most people avoid that moment. They drown it with entertainment. They distract it with busyness. They avoid introspection because introspection demands responsibility. Millionaires, they run toward that moment. They create that moment. They force themselves to confront the truth early because they understand something simple. Remember, you cannot master money until you master yourself. And so they begin with the only thing within their control, their inner world, your beliefs, your habits, your language, your emotional responses, your relationship with discomfort, your ability to delay gratification, your willingness to think independently. These are the foundations of wealth. These are the roots buried underground that eventually produce the tree that everyone sees above it. The rich don't focus on the fruits. They focus on the roots. And today, so will you. Chapter 2. What millionaires know that others don't. The average person thinks money comes from what they do. The wealthy know money comes from how they think. Two people can take the exact same action. Start a business, begin investing, launch a project. But the one with the millionaire mindset will make different decisions, take different risks, think further ahead, and interpret failure differently. If the poor person fails, they say, "See, it didn't work. I guess it wasn't meant for me." If the millionaire fails, they say, "Good. Now I know what doesn't work." That's the difference. Failure to the average person is a dead end. Failure to a millionaire is data. One stops. The other adjusts. That one distinction explains why most never reach financial freedom. The rich are not smarter. They're more strategic with their mind. They ask bigger questions. They think in longer time frames. They ignore noise. They evaluate people with more depth. They don't assume they're right. They test, refine, and evolve. And most importantly, they do not emotionally attach themselves to short-term outcomes because they know the long game is the only game that matters. You want to think like the rich? Then learn to detach from the moment and commit to the mission. Every wealthy person has a powerful relationship with time. They use it. They stretch it. They respect it. They multiply it. The average person, they trade it. They waste it. They complain about it. They underestimate it. The millionaire mindset begins with this realization. Time is your most valuable asset, and the poor treat it like it's free. Chapter 3. The rich think in systems, not tasks. When average people think about goals, they think, I need to do this today. When millionaires think about goals, they think, how do I build a system that does this automatically? This is why they scale. This is why they have freedom. This is why their wealth grows even when they're not actively working. Tasks create effort. Systems create wealth. A task lasts 1 hour. A system lasts decades. And if built correctly, it grows without needing you. Most people never escape the hamster wheel because they only know how to work harder. They were never taught how to work smarter. The millionaire mindset is about architecture, not exhaustion. You don't ask, how much work can I produce? You ask, how much work can I remove myself from? That's the mental shift. That's the beginning of leverage. That's how the rich use time differently. Wealthy people build systems that outlive their effort. Poor and middle-class people build routines that depend entirely on their effort. This is why the rich get richer. If your income stops the moment you stop working, you don't have a wealth mindset. You have a survival mindset. Let that sink in. Chapter 4. The 10 rules the rich always follow. Overview. In this audiobook, you're going to learn the 10 rules millionaires repeat for life. These rules are not motivational quotes. They are behavioral patterns that shape wealth generation at every level. They include 1. Think independently, not socially. 2. Treat money like a tool, not a trophy. 3. Build systems, not tasks. 4. Invest in skills before investments. 5. Delay gratification. Buy time, not toys. 6. Study wealth like a subject. 7. Protect your focus like a fortress. 8. Surround yourself with high-frequency people. 9. Master emotional discipline. 10. Always think in decades. Each of these will become its own chapter. Each will contain exercises, stories, and mindset shifts that you can apply immediately. Because this audiobook is not entertainment, it is training. If something hits you while listening, pause and write it down. Millionaires take notes. Millionaires study money. Millionaires analyze patterns. Millionaires internalize the lessons that others ignore. Chapter 5. Why most people never develop a millionaire mindset. Most people never become wealthy not because they lack intelligence, but because they never question the beliefs they were raised with. Think back to your childhood. What were you taught about money? What did you hear adults say? What did your culture repeat? What did your environment reinforce? You may have grown up with beliefs like money is risky, money is evil, the rich are greedy, security matters more than opportunity. Don't take risks. Just get a stable job. Money doesn't buy happiness. People like us don't get rich. These beliefs were not facts. They were fears projected by people who didn't know any better. You inherited their mindset, their financial trauma, their limitations, and until you examine them, they will quietly shape your choices for the rest of your life. The millionaire mindset begins the moment you question everything, every belief, every fear, every assumption, every limitation you adopted without consent. Because once you break the mental cages, the physical ones fall apart too. Chapter 6. The rich observe, the poor react. Here's a truth almost nobody talks about. Wealth is emotional control disguised as intelligence. You cannot think well if you cannot control your emotions. You cannot make intelligent financial decisions if you panic during volatility. You cannot seize opportunity if you are dependent on comfort. You cannot grow if your ego controls your actions. Millionaires don't just think differently, they feel differently. Where others panic, they stay calm. Where others chase excitement, they pursue clarity. Where others look for validation, they look for information. The average person hears a piece of bad news and immediately reacts. A millionaire hears the same piece of bad news and asks, "Is this temporary? Is this emotional? Is this an opportunity? What does this mean long term?" This habit alone separates the wealthy from everyone else. Your emotions create your outcomes. Your reactions create your future. Your discipline determines your destiny. Controlling your mind is the first step to controlling your money. Most people never notice it, but the moment your mindset shifts, your world shifts with it. Because once you begin to think like a millionaire, you stop living like someone who's waiting for permission. You stop hesitating. You stop overthinking. You stop apologizing for wanting more. You move differently. You decide differently. You speak differently. You value yourself differently. You operate from intention, not survival. And that's where we continue. Chapter 7. Rule number 1. Think independently, not socially. If you want to understand the difference between average thinking and millionaire thinking, here it is. Average people think socially. Millionaires think independently. Most people don't think for themselves. They think through the opinions of the people around them. They think through family expectations. They think through society's fears. They think through the emotional reactions of those they want approval from. Here's the problem. You cannot build a wealthy life using the mindset of the crowd. The crowd seeks comfort. The crowd avoids risk. The crowd worships safety. The crowd repeats what everyone else says. The crowd fears standing out. The crowd clings to what feels familiar. And the crowd is almost never wealthy. Millionaires do the opposite. They question everything. Is this really true? Does this belief serve me? Who benefits from me thinking this way? What would I do if I wasn't afraid of judgment? Is this my thought or someone else's programming? When you stop thinking socially, you stop living reactively. You begin acting on logic, not emotion. You begin acting on vision, not fear. You begin acting on long-term advantage, not short-term validation. Independent thinking is not loud. It is quiet, precise, intentional. It's the voice in your mind that says, "I don't care if the world agrees. I know where I'm going." That's the first rule of the millionaire mindset, and one most people never master. Chapter 8. Rule number 2. Treat money like a tool, not a trophy. The poor chase money to impress. The middle class chases money to survive. The rich use money as a tool to build freedom. Money is not a decoration. Money is not a prize. Money is not a measure of your worth. Money is a tool, a lever, a multiplier. It's not something you show off. It's something you deploy. When you treat money like a trophy, you spend it as soon as you get it. You use it for validation. You waste it on status. You use it to hide insecurity. When you treat money like a tool, you ask much better questions. How do I make this dollar work for me? How do I grow it? How do I protect it? How do I multiply it? How do I make it produce more of itself? Here's the brutal truth. Most people don't have a money problem. They have a meaning problem. Because if you see money as something to spend, you will always lose it. But if you see money as something to use, you will always grow it. Millionaires don't worship money. They weaponize it. Chapter 9. Rule 3. Invest in skills before investments. This is where most beginners sabotage themselves. They want to invest, but they don't want to learn. They want to grow their money, but not grow themselves. They want results, but not responsibility. Here is the simplest formula for wealth. Increase your value, then increase your income, then increase your investments. Notice the order. The foundation is always you. Remember, millionaires pour money into skills, sales, communication, negotiation, discipline, psychology, leadership, emotional regulation, decision-making, marketing, financial literacy, problem-solving, adaptability. Because one skill, if mastered, can produce money for the rest of your life. Skills make you money. Money makes you investments. Investments make you freedom. Poor people try to skip step one. You cannot out-invest a weak mind. You cannot build wealth with poor habits. You cannot win financially with emotional decision-making. Invest in your mind first. Your mind is the only asset you truly control. Chapter 10. Before we continue, I want to say, my dear friend, if you are watching this video, then you are definitely on the right track. Like, subscribe, and write in the comments which topic or problem interests you the most. Chapter 10. The truth about comfort and why it's a trap. Comfort is the enemy that smiles at you. It feels harmless, it feels natural, it feels deserved, it feels safe. But comfort is what kills ambition. Comfort creates excuses. Comfort creates stagnation. Comfort creates the illusion of progress. Comfort convinces you to wait, to pause, to take it easy, to start next week. Comfort destroys potential more quietly than failure ever could. Millionaires are not addicted to comfort. They're addicted to growth. They get comfortable being uncomfortable. They train themselves to move while others hesitate. They commit when others wait for the perfect moment. They accept temporary discomfort in exchange for long-term freedom. If you want a millionaire life, you must break your dependency on ease, because wealth is simple. Choose growth over comfort every time. Chapter 11. The cruel truth about environment. You can have the right mindset, but the wrong environment, and still never succeed. Your environment is louder than you think. It shapes your habits, your standards, your energy. If you're surrounded by complainers, victims, people who fear risk, people who attack ambition, people who are addicted to stability, people who think small, you will eventually become them. Environment is contagious. Energy is contagious. Ambition is contagious. Fear is contagious. Millionaires protect their environment like their financial life depends on it, because it does. Audit your circle. Audit your influences. Audit your conversations. Audit the people you spend time with. Because you cannot think like a millionaire in a room full of people committed to mediocrity. A powerful question to ask yourself: if I stay around these people for the next 5 years, who will I become? Your future is already answering that question. Chapter 12. Why the rich play the long game and everyone else plays the short game. Short-term thinkers ask, what can I get right now? Long-term thinkers ask, what will this decision create 5 years from now? Short-term thinkers need dopamine. They need quick results. They need instant feedback. They need reassurance. Long-term thinkers need clarity. They need strategy. They need consistency. They need patience. Millionaires understand something most never learn. The long game eventually beats talent, luck, and speed, because the long game is predictable. You can build systems around it. You can compound. You can course correct. You can evolve as you grow. Short game thinkers burn out, give up, or get distracted. Long game thinkers accumulate knowledge, accumulate skills, accumulate opportunities, accumulate leverage, accumulate wealth. That's why the rich stay rich. The game they're playing is different, and starting today, you're stepping into that game as well. If you've made it this far, something inside you is changing, not gradually, not slowly, but decisively. You're not just listening anymore. You're recognizing the truth in every word. You're noticing the patterns you've lived in. You're noticing the limits you've accepted. You're noticing the mindset you inherited instead of chose. Chapter 13. The Secret of Decisiveness. Millionaires decide fast. If you study wealthy people long enough, you will notice something almost shocking. Millionaires make decisions quickly and change them slowly. Everyone else does the opposite. They delay decisions, hesitate endlessly, and then change their mind at the first sign of discomfort. Indecision is a silent wealth killer. It drains time. It creates missed opportunities. It destroys confidence. It multiplies doubts. It delays momentum. Indecision is the habit of the poor. Decisiveness is the habit of the rich. Why? Because millionaire thinkers understand this truth. Decisions are not final, but they are directional. You don't need perfect information. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need perfect certainty. You need clarity of intention and the courage to move. Millionaires don't ask, "Is this guaranteed?" They ask, "Is this aligned with who I want to become?" That one question rewires your life. Chapter 14, the rich don't manage time. They manage priorities. Time is equal, but priorities are not. Poor thinkers ask, "How can I fit this into my schedule?" Millionaire thinkers ask, "What deserves space in my life at all?" Because time management doesn't create wealth. Priority management does. You can waste an entire life being busy. You can stay broke doing 100 different tasks. You can exhaust yourself with activity, but get nowhere without intention. Millionaires build filters, not to-do lists. They filter their time through 3 questions. 1. Does this move me closer to my long-term goals? 2. Does this create leverage or new opportunities? 3. Is this something only I can do? Everything else is delegated, automated, or deleted. And the poor? They fill their days with low-importance tasks to avoid confronting the actions that actually matter. If you want to build wealth, stop managing your hours. Start managing your values. Chapter 15. The rich protect their attention like a fortune. Attention is the most valuable currency of the modern world, and millionaires treat it as such. Average people let anything interrupt them. Notifications, drama, gossip, arguments, random distractions, people who want to talk. Everything is allowed in. Millionaire thinkers treat attention like a bank vault. Only what grows their life gets access. Everything else is locked out. Because attention is energy, and energy is the root of achievement. If your attention is scattered, your results will always be scattered. If your attention is sharp, your life will follow the shape of that focus. Millionaires deliberately starve. Negativity, shallow entertainment, pointless arguments, meaningless comparisons, noise disguised as urgency, emotional black holes, and they deliberately feed clarity, study, strategic work, stillness, deep thinking, intentional rest, high-quality relationships, wealth-building actions. Your attention is either your greatest investment or your greatest liability. Choose wisely. Chapter 16, The One Habit. The poor never master. Delayed gratification. If discipline had a guardian, if wealth had a gatekeeper, if success had a password, it would be this: delayed gratification. The ability to choose long-term reward over short-term comfort. Everything about wealth depends on this skill. Poor thinkers chase dopamine. Rich thinkers chase results. Poor thinkers want emotional relief now. Rich thinkers want financial leverage later. Poor thinkers think about today's feeling. Rich thinkers think about tomorrow's freedom. And here's the painful truth. Remember, most people don't want freedom. They want comfort disguised as freedom. This is why people eat what feels good now, spend what feels good now, quit when discomfort arrives, avoid challenges immediately, delay discipline indefinitely. But wealth demands the opposite. Wealth requires saving now to invest later, learning now to earn later, sacrificing now to compound later, working now to relax later, building now to enjoy later. Millionaire thinking starts with one powerful sentence: the reward I want most is greater than the comfort I want now. Say it often. Live it daily. Chapter 17. The rich track their progress. The poor guess. One of the simplest, most overlooked habits of wealthy people is measurement, tracking, data, clarity. Most people don't track anything. They don't know how much they spent, how much they saved, how much they wasted, how much progress they made, how much time they lost, how consistent they were, how often they broke their habits. They're walking in the dark and blaming the walls they crash into. Millionaires track ruthlessly. Why? Because what gets measured grows. What gets ignored declines. Millionaires track income streams, expenses, investments, habits, goals, wins, failures, productivity, emotions, energy levels. Yes, even their energy. Because they know progress isn't just money. Progress is a collection of micro improvements that you stack day after day. You cannot improve what you do not measure. This chapter alone has made countless people wealthy. Chapter 18. The rich don't avoid failure. They master failure. Here is one truth that separates millionaires from everyone else. Failure is not an interruption. Failure is the curriculum. Poor thinkers fear failure. They see it as humiliation, proof of inadequacy, a reason to quit. Millionaire thinkers see failure completely differently. To them, failure is data. Failure is adjustment. Failure is instruction. Failure is a signal that you're moving. The poor want success without failure. The rich know success requires failure. The poor repeat their mistakes. The rich study their mistakes. The poor collapse emotionally. The rich detach emotionally. The poor take failure personally. The rich take failure professionally. Millionaires don't fail less. They fail better. Because every failure moves them forward as long as they refuse to stop. And the one thing millionaires never do? Quit. You've arrived at the turning point. This is where millionaire thinking shifts from theory to behavior, from concept to identity, from desire to discipline. Because wanting wealth isn't rare, but behaving like wealth, that's where 99% stop. Not you, not anymore. Let's continue. Chapter 19. The rich build routines that print momentum. Wealth is not one big decision. It's not one good investment. It's not one lucky opportunity. Wealth is the accumulation of thousands of tiny actions, stacked consistently over time. The rich don't rely on motivation. They rely on routine. Motivation is emotional. Routine is structural. Motivation fades. Routine holds. Poor thinkers try to feel ready. Rich thinkers make readiness irrelevant. Millionaires choose systems that guarantee progress. Morning routines that strengthen clarity. Weekly planning that prioritizes growth. Daily non-negotiables that build discipline. Financial reviews that reinforce awareness. Learning rituals that sharpen the mind. Routine is the scaffolding of success. Remove the scaffolding. The entire structure collapses. Your routines are either building wealth or building excuses. Friend, write your opinion on this topic in the comments. Do you agree with us or not? I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Chapter 20. How the Rich Think About Money and Why It Matters. If you don't think about money correctly, you will never use money correctly. Poor thinkers see money emotionally. The rich see money strategically. The poor see money as security. The rich see money as a tool. The poor see money as something you get. The rich see money as something you build. The poor see spending as a reward. The rich see spending as a responsibility. The poor ask, "Where can I spend this?" The rich ask, "How can I multiply this?" Money follows mindset long before it follows action. That's why two people can earn the same income, yet one escapes poverty and the other stays trapped in it. Money doesn't respond to effort alone. It responds to intelligence, discipline, and intention. Shift the meaning of money in your mind, and you shift its trajectory in your life. Chapter 21. The rich learn from mentors, not mistakes. Millionaires have a superpower. They collapse time. They learn in months what takes others decades. Why? Because they don't insist on figuring it out alone. They know that time is too expensive to waste. Everyone eventually pays for wisdom. The question is, how? With money or with years of your life? The poor learn through trial and error. They say, "I'll figure it out. I don't need help. I'll do it my way." That's pride. And pride is a tax, the highest tax on progress. Millionaires learn through books, mentors, coaches, courses, communities of achievers, environments designed for growth. They understand something most people never grasp. You're not paying for knowledge. You're paying to avoid the mistakes that cost years and opportunities. Mentorship is the shortcut everyone asks for, but few are humble enough to follow. Chapter 22. The rich make themselves too busy to fail. Success isn't only about doing the right things. It's also about removing time for the wrong ones. Idle time is the playground of self-doubt. The rich eliminate it. They fill their days with purpose, not noise, not overwhelm, but intentional pressure. Pressure that shapes, pressure that clarifies, pressure that organizes, pressure that builds. Millionaires understand something simple. When your life is dominated by purposeful activity, negative emotions have no place to grow. Poor thinkers leave too much space in their lives, too much room for fear, worry, rumination, procrastination, what-if scenarios, emotional spirals. The rich fill that space with action. They stay too committed to their goals to have time for their doubts. Chapter 23. The rich create before they consume. Consumption is passive. Creation is powerful. Poor thinkers wake up and consume news, social media, entertainment, opinions, drama, messages. They begin every day reactive, which means they begin every day behind. Millionaire thinkers wake up and create ideas, solutions, strategy, content, value, opportunities. They start the day in control. They build instead of absorb. They push the world instead of being pushed by it. Creation multiplies your value. Consumption dilutes it. Ask yourself every morning, will I spend today absorbing other people's lives or building my own? Chapter 24. The Rich Master. Emotional Neutrality. Most people lose not because they are incapable, but because they get emotional. They panic when things slow down. They quit when progress is invisible. They react when criticized. They crumble when misunderstood. They melt under pressure. They exaggerate problems. They spiral from small setbacks. Remember, millionaire thinkers practice something rare: emotional neutrality. Not numbness, not apathy. Neutrality. The ability to observe without reacting, analyze without panic, adapt without frustration, respond without emotion, distorting logic. This is why millionaires make better decisions. Their mind isn't fogged by emotional storms. Neutrality creates clarity. Clarity creates direction. Direction creates wealth. The richer the thinker, the calmer the mind. Chapter 25. Raising your standards until success has no escape. If you want millionaire results, you cannot live with average standards. Your standards determine your habits, your circle, your energy, your wealth, your future. Poor thinkers tolerate too much. Laziness, inconsistency, chaos, self-sabotage, toxic influences, low-effort work, emotional impulses, excuses, procrastination. Millionaires tolerate almost nothing that damages their momentum. They raise their standards until winning becomes inevitable. Not because it's easy, but because anything less becomes unacceptable. When you raise your standards, two things happen immediately. 1. Your environment rises to match you. 2. Anything misaligned falls away. Success becomes your default, not your dream. You've made it to the most important transformation of all, the identity shift. Because here's the truth. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You sink to the level of your identity. If your identity does not match the wealth you want, your actions will sabotage your progress every single time. Let's continue. Chapter 26. The Identity of a Millionaire. Identity is not who you are. Identity is who you've decided you must become. Most people repeat the same behaviors because they never question the identity guiding them. If you identify as broke, you will subconsciously behave like someone who expects scarcity. You will undercharge, underinvest, underact. If you identify as average, you will choose comfort over growth. You will seek approval instead of mastery. If you identify as struggling, you will see obstacles instead of solutions. But if you shift your identity to a successful, capable wealth builder, everything changes. Your brain aligns your actions with your identity. It will pull you toward mastery, discipline, and consistent growth because your identity demands it. Identity precedes income. If you ever want to earn more, you must first become the kind of person who earns more. Chapter 27. The rich think long-term by default. Short-term thinking is the mindset of the poor. It destroys potential. It chases quick wins. It panics during setbacks. It quits when results aren't instant. Long-term thinking is the mindset of the wealthy. The rich understand that time is their greatest investment. Not something to escape, but something to leverage. They delay gratification. They play compound interest games. They invest in skills that take years to monetize. They build assets instead of impressions. They value decades over days. Poor thinkers say, I'll do what feels good this week. Rich thinkers say, I'll do what benefits me for life. The moment you switch from short-term emotion to long-term intention, your entire financial future transforms. You stop chasing entertainment and start building equity. You stop craving approval and start building assets. You stop reacting to the moment and start engineering the future. Long-term thinking makes you unstoppable because nothing can discourage someone who thinks in decades. Chapter 28, Millionaires. Use attention, not emotion. Here is one of the greatest secrets in wealth psychology. The rich do not rely on willpower. They rely on attention control. Whatever you repeatedly give your attention to shapes your decisions, your emotions, and your future. Most people give their attention away for free. Distractions, arguments, news, gossip, scrolling, emotional triggers, low-value conversations. Then they wonder why their mind feels exhausted and their life feels stuck. Millionaires guard their attention like treasure. They focus on opportunities, personal development, building skills, income-producing tasks, long-term value, high-quality environments, strategic thinking. Their attention is intentional. Their mind is their asset. Their focus multiplies their income. Your life expands or contracts based on what you pay attention to. If your attention is scattered, your wealth stays scattered. If your attention is concentrated, your wealth accelerates. Chapter 29. You can't think like a millionaire in a poor environment. Environment always wins. You can have strong goals, a strong work ethic, a strong vision. But if your environment is weak, it will break you. You cannot think big while surrounded by people living small. You cannot prioritize growth while surrounded by people who fear change. You cannot become disciplined while surrounded by people who love excuses. The rich design their environment intentionally. They choose people who inspire them, mentors who challenge them, circles that normalize growth, problems that expand them, spaces that amplify creativity, habits that reinforce discipline. If you want to think like the wealthy, your environment must support that identity. Sometimes your life elevates the moment you stop trying to save old relationships and start building new standards. You grow fastest when you stop resisting evolution. Your environment is the soil. Your identity is the seed. Your habits are the roots. Your success is the fruit. Nothing grows in bad soil. Chapter 30. The rich protect their energy like currency. Money is not your most limited resource. Energy is. When your energy is low, your ambition shrinks. Your creativity disappears. Your vision fogs. Your discipline dissolves. Millionaires invest their energy where it multiplies, not where it drains. That means fewer arguments, fewer obligations, fewer emotional battles, fewer toxic relationships, fewer pointless conversations, fewer distractions, fewer unaligned commitments, and more. Clarity, focus, deep work, physical health, strategic rest, meaningful relationships, intentional solitude. The rich protect their energy not because they're selfish, but because they understand that drained energy produces drained results. You cannot build wealth with a depleted mind. Energy is the foundation of every intelligent decision. Protect it, guard it, invest it, honor it. Chapter 31. Millionaires. Do the hard work others avoid. If two people want the same income, but only one is willing to do the uncomfortable work, there is no competition. The rich think in terms of necessary labor. The poor think in terms of emotional labor. The difference? Necessary labor is strategic, targeted, and skill-building. Emotional labor is avoidance disguised as effort. Millionaires do what works. Poor thinkers do what feels good. Millionaires choose the hard things that matter. Building mastery, managing money, learning complex skills, creating valuable assets, facing uncomfortable truths, building discipline, maintaining consistency, taking responsibility. Poor thinkers choose the hard things that don't matter, letting problems grow, avoiding difficult conversations, procrastinating important tasks, obsessing over fears, trying to look successful instead of becoming successful. Hard work is not enough. Most people work hard on the wrong things. Millionaires work hard on the right things. Chapter 32. The rich train their mind more than their circumstances. This chapter might be the most important one yet. The rich do not fix their life by fixing their life. They fix their thinking, which fixes their decisions, which fixes their actions, which fixes their habits, which fixes their life. The poor try to change their circumstances without changing the mindset that created them. It never works. External change without internal conditioning collapses quickly. You don't rise to wealth. You grow into it. Every successful person has one moment where they stop trying to escape their life and start transforming the version of themselves living it. That is the moment wealth begins. You've reached the turning point. This is where ordinary people walk away, and where the ones who rise take their first real step. Remember, because from this point on, we're not just talking about wealth. We're talking about the psychology that creates it. If the earlier chapters opened your eyes, these next ones will rewire your mind. Let's continue. Chapter 33. The rich aren't luckier. They're more prepared. There is a myth floating around society that the wealthy got lucky, that they stumbled into opportunities, that money magically fell into their laps, that timing, privilege, or coincidence built their success. But here's the truth. Opportunity visits everyone. The difference is that most people aren't prepared to receive it. Millionaires do three things differently. 1. They prepare before opportunity arrives. They're learning when others are relaxing. They're building skills when others are scrolling. They're networking when others are complaining. They're improving when others are waiting. 2. They recognize opportunity when they see it. Most people don't see wealth even when it stands in front of them. They're focused on fear, not potential. The wealthy have trained their brain to see possibility. 3. They act faster than anyone else. Poor thinkers wait for perfect conditions. Rich thinkers create them. Luck isn't random. Luck is the collision between preparation and courage. Chapter 34. Millionaires learn from every loss. The poor fear losing. The rich fear not learning. That's the difference. Poor thinkers avoid risk because they're terrified of mistakes. Rich thinkers take calculated risks because they know mistakes are data. A poor mindset says, I failed. A millionaire mindset says, I learned. A poor mindset says, I wasted time. A millionaire mindset says, I invested in experience. A poor mindset says, I tried once. It didn't work. A millionaire mindset says, I'll try again with better strategy. Nothing grows without friction. Nothing strengthens without resistance. Nothing succeeds without failure. Every loss has a lesson. Every mistake has a message. Every setback has a seed of future advantage. Millionaires don't avoid failure. They harvest it. If you appreciate our efforts and our thoughts, subscribe and like this video. We need to show the world that there are many people like us. We must always continue to improve. Chapter 35. The rich build on boredom, not motivation. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the engine. But here's the hidden truth. Millionaires succeed because they can perform with zero motivation. They can work through boredom. They can execute when excitement dies. Most people quit not because the task is hard, but because the novelty wears off. They want the rush of starting, the excitement of dreaming, the dopamine of planning. But millionaires keep going even when the dopamine fades. They don't worship motivation. They respect consistency. Anyone can work when inspired. The wealthy work when uninspired. That is the difference between hobby-level effort and generational success. Chapter 36. The rich build systems that make wealth inevitable. This is where the psychology becomes practical. Millionaires don't rely on memory, emotion, or hoping things work out. They rely on systems, repeatable steps that generate predictable outcomes. Systems turn goals into processes. Processes turn processes into habits. Habits turn habits into results. Results turn results into a new identity. Millionaires have systems for saving, investing, creating, learning, improving, tracking, decision-making, risk management, evaluating opportunities. While most people rely on motivation, the wealthy rely on structure. Systems remove emotion. Systems reduce resistance. Systems eliminate doubt. Systems compound wealth. A system doesn't care how you feel, it just works. Chapter 37. The rich never stop investing in themselves. This is not just advice. It's a universal rule. The rich invest in knowledge, mindset, mentorship, skill development, emotional control, health, network, decision-making abilities. The poor say, "I can't afford to learn." The wealthy say, "I can't afford not to learn." The poor say, "That book is too expensive." The wealthy say, "That book might save me 10 years." The poor say, "I'll do it when things get better." The wealthy say, "Things get better because I do it." Every dollar you invest in yourself comes back multiplied through better decisions, higher earning ability, faster problem solving, and stronger mindset. If you ever want to make more, you must become more. Wealth doesn't start in your wallet. It starts in your mind. Chapter 38. The rich think in terms of leverage. There are only 3 ways to get rich. 1. Use your time. 2. Use other people's time. 3. Use systems that run without your time. Poor thinkers only use step 1. Millionaires master all 3. The wealthy ask, "How can this be done without me? How can this scale? How can this grow even when I'm resting? How can this multiply?" That's leverage. Leverage is when your results exceed your effort. A poor mindset works harder. A rich mindset works smarter. The rich seek leverage everywhere. Automation, passive income, outsourcing, teams, technology, partnerships, intellectual property, content, systems, investments. Leverage is how you escape trading your life for money. Without leverage, wealth is slow. With leverage, wealth is inevitable. Chapter 39. Millionaires prioritize clarity over everything. Confusion is expensive. Unclear goals cost you years. Unclear decisions drain your energy. Unclear priorities cost you opportunities. Clarity is the foundation of millionaire thinking. Clear goals, clear habits, clear values, clear timelines, clear boundaries, clear standards. The wealthy don't guess their way through life. They design it. Clarity is power. Clarity eliminates noise. Clarity accelerates results. Ask yourself, what do I want? Why do I want it? What's the one action that moves me closer today? When you answer these questions, your mind unlocks a new level of certainty, and certainty creates momentum. Chapter 40. You are rewriting your future right now. And this brings us to the end of today's section, but not the end of your transformation, because by this point, something inside you has changed. You're not thinking the same way you did 1 hour ago. You're not operating on the same assumptions. You're not looking at yourself through the same lens. You're expanding. You're upgrading. You're evolving, and the richest version of you is getting closer. In the next message, we enter the final stage, the integration phase, where everything you've learned locks into your identity, where the millionaire mindset becomes natural, automatic, permanent. Chapter 51. Millionaires don't wait for the right time. They create it. Most people waste years waiting for the right moment, the right mood, the right motivation, the right opportunity, the right confidence. But the rich, they understand one truth. Remember, time is not something you find. It's something you make. Poor thinkers delay out of fear. Millionaire thinkers move despite fear. While others wait for clarity, millionaires gain clarity through action. While others wait for certainty, millionaires find certainty through experience. While others wait for confidence, millionaires build confidence through movement. The right time doesn't arrive. You arrive. And when you do, everything changes. Chapter 52. The rich focus on skill, not luck. If you rely on luck, your life becomes a lottery. If you rely on skill, your life becomes predictable. The wealthy don't pray for opportunities. They prepare for them. They study while others sleep. They practice while others procrastinate. They build skills while others build excuses. Because skills create money. Skills create opportunities. Skills create independence. Luck might give you a moment. Skill gives you a lifetime. If you want to guarantee success, don't chase luck. Master a skill so valuable that money has no choice but to chase you. Chapter 53. Millionaires are obsessed with leverage. Leverage is the most powerful concept in wealth. Without leverage, you earn with your time. With leverage, you earn beyond your time. There are 4 kinds of leverage millionaires use. 1. Skill leverage, your expertise earns while you sleep. 2. Time leverage. Other people's time multiplies yours. 3. Money leverage investments work while you rest. 4. System leverage. Processes do the heavy lifting for you. The poor ask, how can I work harder? The rich ask, how can I build something that works even when I'm not? The day you stop relying solely on your labor is the day you stop living paycheck to paycheck. Chapter 54. The rich solve problems, not symptoms. Poor thinkers try to escape problems. Rich thinkers diagnose problems. The poor ask, how do I make the pain stop? The rich ask, what is the root cause? The poor want relief. The rich want resolution. This is why millionaires grow. While others hide from discomfort, they walk toward it. Why? Because every problem contains a lesson. Every lesson contains a skill. Every skill contains an opportunity. Every opportunity contains wealth. If you want a richer life, stop avoiding your problems. Start solving them. Chapter 55. Millionaires learn how to think, not what to think. Schools teach memorization. Millionaires learn interpretation. Schools teach answers. Millionaires learn frameworks. Schools teach teach instructions. Millionaires learn principles. The wealthy don't ask, "What should I do?" They ask, "How should I think about this?" Because the right mindset will produce the right choices without needing a script. Millionaires don't follow rules. They understand systems. Once you learn how to think like the rich, you can't help but make decisions that lead to wealth. You've already begun that shift. Chapter 56. The rich avoid the most expensive habit on earth. Do you know the single most costly habit of poor thinkers? Mental laziness. Not physical laziness. Mental laziness. Avoiding reading, avoiding reflection, avoiding learning, avoiding planning, avoiding accountability, avoiding introspection. The poor say, "It's too boring." The rich say, "It's too expensive not to learn." Because mental laziness leads to financial laziness, emotional laziness, and eventually lifestyle collapse. If you're willing to think deeply, you're already separating yourself from the crowd. Chapter 57. Millionaires don't fight reality. They use it. Poor thinkers resist life. Rich thinkers work with it. You cannot build success from denial, avoidance, or wishful thinking. Millionaires deal with facts. They work with truth. They adapt to reality faster than anyone else, because the faster you accept reality, the faster you can influence it. Most people waste years arguing with life. This shouldn't have happened. This isn't fair. This can't be true. Millionaires say, "It happened. Now what? How do I move forward? What advantage can I create from this?" If you want to win, stop resisting reality. Start reshaping it. Chapter 58. The rich respect their future self. This is one of the most profound differences between the rich and the poor. Poor thinkers prioritize their present self. Millionaire thinkers prioritize their future self. The poor say, "What feels good right now?" The rich say, "What feels right long term?" The poor escape discomfort. The rich invest in discomfort. The poor live for today. The rich build for tomorrow. Everything you want, the freedom, the wealth, the stability, the peace, belongs to your future self. And every time you make a disciplined choice, you are protecting that future. Respect your future self more than your temporary comfort. That is where wealth begins. Chapter 59. Millionaire. Thinking is a lifestyle, not a moment. This mindset doesn't switch on for one day and disappear the next. It becomes the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you choose, the way you evaluate decisions, the way you move through life. It becomes automatic. You stop chasing approval. You stop reacting emotionally. You stop fearing failure. You stop doubting your worth. And you start operating with clarity, composure, strategy, patience, confidence, intention. Wealth stops being a dream. It becomes a direction. This is the shift that changes your life forever. Chapter 60. The final activation. You become the millionaire. Take a breath. This is the moment. This entire audiobook has been leading you here to this exact point. You've learned the habits, the thinking patterns, the rules, the mindset, the identity, the psychology of wealth. Now it becomes real. Not someday, not eventually, not when conditions are perfect. Now, remember, because the millionaire you're becoming is not a fantasy. It's a decision. Your circumstances don't decide who you become. Your choices do. Your past doesn't determine your future. Your mindset does. Your current bank account doesn't define your destiny. Your identity does. And your identity has already begun to shift. You feel it. You know it. You can't unlearn it. You can't undo it. You can't return to small thinking after hearing thoughts this big. You can't go back. You're not meant to. This is a new chapter, a new identity, a new mindset, a new future. You are stepping into a life where wealth is not a fantasy. It's an expression of who you are becoming. Welcome to the Millionaire Mindset. You've earned it. The end. If this audiobook shifted your thinking, share what part hit you hardest and tell me, what topic should your next audiobook explore?